The chip mug warmed my hands, the lukewarm tea doing little to soothe the icy dread that had settled in my gut. It had been 3 months since I first suspected, a gut feeling solidifying into chilling certainty with each passing day. Olivia, my Olivia, the woman who swore she'd love me until the day we died, had been having an affair. And she thought she'd gotten away with it. It started subtly. Late nights at the office, a new, almost manic energy that replaced her usual quiet contentment. Then came the unfamiliar cologne lingering on her clothes, the hurried phone calls she took in hushed tones, the increasingly frequent excuses for not spending time together. My instincts, honed over years of marriage, screamed betrayal. I'm not a detective, nor am I prone to fits of jealous rage. I'm a history professor, a man who values reason and evidence above all else. So I began my own quiet investigation. I wasn't looking for a dramatic confrontation, I wanted proof, cold, hard facts to support the gnawing suspicion that had become a constant companion. I checked her phone bills, discreetly, of course, noting the unusually high number of calls to an unknown number. I monitored her online activity, discovering late-night chats on a social media platform I'd never heard of. It was a slow, painstaking process, each piece of evidence adding another layer of pain to the already fractured reality of my life. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place last week. I found a receipt tucked into her coat pocket, a receipt from a secluded lakeside hotel, a place we'd often talked about visiting, together. The date on the receipt was 2 weeks ago, a date that coincided with one of her many late nights at the office. That's when the plan formed, a plan meticulously crafted, fueled by a potent mixture of hurt, anger, and a quiet, simmering desire for justice. For days, I meticulously gathered evidence. I took photos of text messages, screenshots of her online conversations, even downloaded copies of her emails. I wasn't just building a case against her, I was building a case against the life we had, a life she was so casually dismantling. The man she was seeing, a lawyer named Daniel Blackwood, frequented the same upscale restaurants we did, a constant reminder of her deceit. It was a brutal but necessary process, one that stripped me bare, leaving only the raw, exposed nerve of betrayal. The note I left in her purse wasn't about anger or revenge in the immediate sense. It was about dismantling her carefully constructed facade, her illusion of control. It was a carefully chosen selection of the evidence I'd collected, not all of it, just enough to shatter her world. Photos, screenshots, the hotel receipt, all neatly arranged, alongside a simple, typed message, I know. I'd left it there Saturday evening, and watched from across the street as she returned home. She opened the door, her usual brisk energy replaced with a tired slump. Then she saw the light left on in the living room. She went inside. I waited, the cold night air biting into me, the tension tightening in my chest like a coiled spring. After what felt like an eternity, I saw her emerge, her face pale, eyes wide, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. This wasn't the triumphant, self-assured woman who'd been living a double life, this was a broken woman, consumed by guilt and fear. She didn't run away, she didn't scream or rage. Instead, she collapsed onto the steps, clutching her purse to her chest, body racked with sobs. The carefully constructed facade, the lies, the deception, it all crumbled before my eyes. It was the most complete and utter collapse I've ever witnessed. She was completely broken, and that, in a strange, twisted way, was satisfying. Not in a vindictive way, but in a way that confirmed my own sense of justice. I let her cry. I didn't approach her, didn't shout, didn't gloat. My revenge wasn't about inflicting pain, it was about revealing the truth, making her confront the consequences of her actions. It was about reclaiming my own peace of mind. I wanted her to feel the weight of her deceit, to understand the magnitude of her betrayal, not through my rage, but through the stark reality of her actions laid bare. The next morning, I filed for divorce. It was a clean break, devoid of the drama I could have easily conjured. There were no accusations hurled, no bitter fights, no public spectacle. I simply presented the evidence, a mountain of irrefutable proof. The lawyer she was seeing, Daniel Blackwood, he didn't even try to fight it. Olivia, meanwhile, offered no defense. Her silence was more damning than any screamed accusations could ever be. The legal process was swift and impersonal, a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil I'd endured. The division of assets was fair. I didn't seek to punish her financially, I only wanted my freedom, a clean slate to begin rebuilding my life. The fallout from the affair extended beyond the legal ramifications. Her reputation, once carefully cultivated, was tarnished. Whispers followed her, her carefully built social life imploding. She lost her job at the law firm. The friends she'd shared with me distanced themselves, realizing the extent of her deception. It wasn't a deliberate act of revenge on my part, it was simply the natural consequence of her choices. Her carefully built world, the one she'd prioritized over our marriage, began to crumble around her. She attempted to contact me several times, but I didn't respond. I'd given her what she wanted initially, space. Now, she needed to grapple with her own wreckage, alone. I wasn't interested in a reconciliation, not after what she'd done. The trust was irrevocably broken, the love poisoned. In the months that followed, I focused on myself. I rebuilt my life, brick by painstaking brick. I sought therapy to process the trauma, to understand how I could have been so blind to her betrayal. I reconnected with old friends, rediscovered hobbies I'd neglected, found solace in the quiet routine of my life. The pain still lingered, a phantom limb that occasionally ached, a reminder of the betrayal. But it no longer consumed me. It was a scar, a testament to a painful chapter in my life, but not the defining feature of my existence. I learned to forgive, not her. Forgiveness is for her to earn, but myself. I forgave myself for not seeing the signs sooner, for allowing myself to be vulnerable to such profound deceit. I discovered a strength I didn't know I possessed, a resilience forged in the crucible of heartbreak and betrayal. I moved on, not to forget, but to learn, to heal, and to rebuild a life that was, ultimately, stronger and more authentic than the one I'd lost. The sight of her collapse on those steps, the sight of her world collapsing around her, brought a painful resolution, a finality to a chapter in my life. It was a closure I never thought I'd find, but it was a closure I earned. And it was deeply satisfying.